Welcome to episode 8 of Pipe gDAO podcast. It is your usual suspects, Lazy Slimy, and this guy.
And me, Pipe Noodle. I'm back. I'm here.
The,
Hello.
the pipe noodle. It's a noodle coming out of a pipe. Oh,
That's me.
well, I guess it makes sense because the pipe is like, circular, cylindrical, with a hollow in inside of it, and then there's a noodle coming out, which is also kind of cylindrical.
Absolutely. You know me.
Sometimes. Although, if when I buy noodles, I prefer them to be more flat. Our this time we are reading a blog again, but not from the usual authors. This time it's Andrew Flack, our CTO. Was it?
Yes.
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 Although for everyone, it's just Andy. That's what they call him.
Yeah.
And there is an awesome PFP picture of him with no hair at all except for the gray beard. But that's not, I'm gonna say that's not normally how he looks. I would say I think this picture doesn't do him justice. But here's the title: A modest proposal for preventing the research of universities from being a burden to their country, and for making them beneficial to the public. It was published very recently. In fact, it was talked about on our recent AMA over at X. But wait, are you looking to get the latest updates straight from the source? All the insider details as they happen?
Well, we've got you covered. Follow us on X to stay in the loop with both PGF and the Pipe Company. From announcements to exclusive insights, you'll be the first to know.
And don't miss our next AMA. Get your questions ready, whether you want to ask them in writing or come on air to speak directly with the experts.
It's your chance to ask anything. Hear the answers live and get the clarity you need. Just follow us on X and never miss an AMA announcement.
Stay informed, stay ahead, and get answers right from the source. Go into the link tree in the description, find our X, formerly Twitter page, and we'll see you there. 12th of November. A modest proposal for preventing the research of universities from being a burden to the university or country, and making them beneficial to the public. With due deference to the late, very revered Reverend, and those two are capitalized, by the way, the first letters, very Reverend Jonathan Swift. I don't know who he is, but thank you, very Reverend Jonathan Swift, for your contribution to the world, or at least to Andy's inspiration. You can, I guess, find out if you Google it. We're all aware of the current state of affairs of our universities. I don't know, I'm not aware of it much, but I guess people in the know are, and educational establishments, whereby they are finding it difficult to support the levels of expenditure to which they are accustomed and entitled. That's one of those things that are very hotly debated topics, whether this kind of expenditure is justified or not.
Yeah.
uh, Government monies, and that's exactly how he spelled it. Monies, Moniees. That's how you know Andy is the cool guy. He's one of the cool kids because that's how we spelled monies. Government monies are being withheld, and the liberty of the establishments to charge a compensatory rate for their services are being restricted. So, yeah, they're trying to cut down on some expenditures. There's a danger of the reduction of the support for research that can show no commercial benefit or utility through a relentless pursuit of return on investment from funding bodies. So, not all research is meant to be strictly short-term gain. Maybe not even long-term monetary gain. Some things deserve to be funded even if they produce absolutely zero profit. I could think of a few, but that's more of a political subject. Those who have experienced the full process of taking an aspiring idea through to a pursuing pro- productization know well of the myriad obstacles that are cast in the path of such progression, and of the numerous failings by the wayside that may be witnessed in even our most prestigious and longest established cohorts. Well, personal opinion, not one of Andy, but yeah, personal opinion. A lot of those processes are actually quite old, and quite frankly, I think some of them are co- complex on purpose just to prevent others from actually being able to do it and to control the process from top to bottom. But yeah, that's a side comment. Such can be the brutal hazing that must be endured, that whilst many enter the process, few pass through it. In fact, in our previous episode, we talked about how the TTOs, transfer technology offices, a lot of the processes are not as efficient as they should be, and that's actually why a lot of them fail. And that was the inspiration for Rob to found the pipe company. Be it government regulation or lack of support, a marketplace unready for such endeavors or indifferent to the advantages offered, or the simple practicalities of turning a laboratory proof into an easily replicated product. These are innumerable hazards to be negotiated. Little wonder then at the relief, satisfaction, and indeed some celebration commonly exhibited when, by some uncommon fortune, a project survives the course. Yeah, so the vast majority of projects are not going to make the cut. It is a very minority that actually are gonna pass through. Sad is the fact that those that survive are expected to carry by some the load of all who enter the process and of the resources they consumed regardless of outcome. Yeah, so if you are one of the few who actually survived, there are there can be quite unrealistic expectations on you, especially when the whole process, being as difficult as it is, can be quite lengthy. And
Mm.
since it's lengthy, it's expensive in terms of both money as well as human resources and time that were invested into it. So they would be understandably strict with the things that they do select. The virtue of the individual being endangered by the fates of the many. That's quite poetic. But before that, have you heard of a certain logo designer that managed to turn $2,000 into $200,000?
I have not. Please tell me more.
Oh well, his name is Dustin Moskowitz, a simple designer whose genius foresight in an early university startup, Facebook, changed his life. Yes, he designed the Facebook logo. And you can do this too by contributing to nascent technology startups from universities of today through Pipe Associate Network. Find out how you can get started today by going into the description, our link tree, and look for www.arbato.io/pan. Would you like to continue?
Absolutely. So, what we're talking about is sort of this environment that the efforts of highly qualified research academics who are attempting to extending the boundaries of knowledge, they must attempt to survive. Very sort of Hunger Games esque. In addition, right, to adhering to these sort of conventions, customs, and practices of their sort of universities, researchers are now sort of unreasonably burdened with the expectation that they will produce research outcomes of like many times greater value than the funding which was used to make them. So they're expecting to turn a huge profit all the time. Um, this drives to common commercialization, threatens to undermine the fundamental principles of academic research, and therefore harms the pursuit of knowledge. Such research academics are expected to sort of add to their already impressive qualifications and knowledge in their specific fields of research, all of the qualifications for each of the supporting functions of a mundane commercial operation. This is not in any way to suggest that academics involved are incapable of doing this, but on the flip side, it's the timeframes of expectation that they will achieve such competence is not in accordance with the busy schedules that they will already be enduring as part of their ongoing duties and responsibilities. After all, we expect these students to spend several years in the process of obtaining even a rudimentary qualification in any subject, and even disregarding the extensions to that period afforded by the needs to synchronize availability with the appropriate teaching staff, periods, or what
Acculturalization.
acculturalization, to the university ethos and inevitable delays. This period is still short of the supposed 10,000 hours of study and practice that is required to become proficient with an expertise, because considerably more qualified than students and already entwined within the university, it could be expected that the attainment of competence with the subject by a research academic could be much more rapidly obtained were it possible to dedicate such time to its achievement in the face of the competing demands of university research, teaching, consultancy, and other duties, and obligations both inside and outside of the academic establishment?
Oh yeah, a comment to add. While Andy does say that, that's not to say that they are incapable of, doing uh, what's it called, the funding process. They're not they are capable of doing it. Uh, but I would say that the majority of them are not, because normally when you meet the academics, that's not something they're even interested in. So while perhaps they could learn it, although I think the majority of them probably are not the kind of people who would be predispositioned to do it. At least most of them would not want to. So yeah, I agree on the surface that they could, but the majority of them are not going to. And that's actually, I believe we talked about it in the last blog by Rob. That yeah, it's because of this specialization, and it's good that they specialize. Uh, they are going to be doing specifically this thing. So there is a need for a very well established process that does the other part of it. Reading next paragraph, the presumption appears to be that the individual who has originated the idea has both the desire and the responsibility of abandoning all other endeavors, ensuring the progression of the subject in hand through the acquisition of such supplementary expertise. That's actually kind of what CEOs do. Like they are generally kind of like jack of all trades, but or at least that's one of the perceptions floating around the internet. And some CEOs resonate with the idea that they're not there to be smart or anything. In fact, the CEO is the guy who just uh, goes like, "Hey, what's up? So how's it going? You good? Okay, okay." So he understands the entire process little by little, and he's just in charge of keeping things together rather than performing those tasks. And that's because the other people are so hyper focused on their specific part that they cannot afford to spend their mental resources on what CEO does. And also the other thing is that all CEOs have to yap a lot. That's also one of the talents.
That's
Uh,
true. I remember I saw this video. Did you know up to 45% of recruiter talent database are dormant? This means 45% of your revenue is left on the table.
wow.
I know, right? But if you repurpose your talent database by redirecting them to nascent industry technology in high growth, you can share a portion of the high growth sweat equity too. How? The Pipe Associate Network. Bring new opportunities to talent within university-born R&D IP startups worldwide and earn a part of the future. Go to our description for the link tree or sign up on www.thepipecompany.co.uk and start your adventure of the future today. Where this guy was a social media guy, and he said he hated meeting with like CEOs because he was meeting with some big ones, like he met with like the Zuckerbergs and people like that. And he said they just seem so stressed out all the time. Like it's like they just talk. They don't stop talking. It's like they always keep going and going and going, no matter what. And he said that it's a very intense lifestyle to live.
I can imagine, because while they don't do the task themselves, they are responsible for its completion. So
Yeah,
yeah, and reading on, what of their responsibilities to their other ideas, even the existing students? Yeah, fun fact: professors in universities actually have to teach students. Maybe not a lot of people know about it, but yeah, professors are expected to teach students. That's one of those things.
I every time you come on here, right, you keep saying these things that have to be lies. I just
Yeah.
I just don't believe you. You're telling me a professor, an actual teacher's job is to go to university and teach students.
Yeah, and like
No,
sometimes you even
you
have to.
shut up.
Yeah,
You're lying. Sorry.
I know it's difficult to comprehend, but sometimes they even have to make time for some individual students who come in after the lectures.
Mm,
Yeah, mind you, a lot of university doesn't happen often. They're like, yeah, sure, come in anytime, and students don't come. that's that's also one
that's
of the
true. That does happen a lot. Yeah.
a bit of a like a personal story because uh, uh like I was learning Spanish at the same time as I was studying in a Spanish university. I had to come a lot more often than other people, and the professors actually welcomed me because students don't normally come for, for consultations.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Reading on, should such duties be allocated to those who are already assisting in the research practicalities, despite the inconvenience that this would entail to all involved? Uh, I guess teaching assistants or something. Hmm. It must be recognized, however, that even the successful outcome of such extension of expertise would still result in the concentration of duties within an individual who, no matter how brilliant, would still be constrained by the number of available hours within a day. And the problem is not a simple, well, yeah. So essentially, you would be shifting the role of. So if we were to implement it, the professor who is expected to do the research and to teach, you would just shift into as an assistant who would do this same role, while the professor would be just pure researcher. So in the end, I don't think anything significant would occur. And the
Hello.
problem
So
is not as simple as providing more seats in a lecture theater. Uh, I guess you could just put more people into the lectures, so you would have to fewer lectures, or something. But more akin to how many tutorials can be reasonably accomplished. There's only so much that an individual can do. Even Heracles, I usually see Hercules rather than Heracles. I guess it's a different translation. Um, Even Heracles used the power of the rivers Alpheus and Peneus to wash out the Oigan stables, a notable instance of his using his head rather than his muscular abilities. If a son of Zeus, wouldn't be the son of Zeus, must call upon others, even a force of nature to boot, to help share the task, what hope for those mere mortals? I repeat, mere mortals, however brilliant. Not all of them are brilliant, though, but there are definitely some. To pick up and fulfill of all the roles required in a commercialization endeavor.
stop. Are you looking for a way to make passive income with your online business with a quality partnership that has low startup costs? Then the Pipe Affiliates and Referrals is for you. An affiliate is an individual or business that helps promote the Pipe services in exchange for a commission on the sales or leads that generate from their links. To do this, you'll need to join an affiliate program with Pipe, promote Pipe with unique tracking links on your websites, blogs, or social media, or any other channels. You will then go on to earn any commission made when a new user clicks your link and makes a purchase.
You heard that right. When a new user clicks your link or any client of yours and makes a purchase, you earn a commission from it. The referral process using Pipe offers a structured and efficient way for recruiting agencies to connect qualified candidates with potential employers. By leveraging Pipe's capabilities, agencies can enhance the quality of their referrals and improve the chances of candidates being considered for suitable associate positions. There are currently four roles: sales associate with a revenue share of 20%, the affiliate with 15%, and on a small scale, there's refer with 1% and associate refer also with 1%.
Go to www.thepipecompany.co.uk/associates-affiliates to become an affiliate with the Pipe program today and start generating passive income with long-term potential. So, Indeed has been sort of exposed in Adam Smith's book, an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. This is the right bit, right? I'm reading.
Yep.
And his theory based on the idea of the division of labor, which is when the production process of good is broken down into smaller tasks. Such confusion of responsibilities is quite detrimental to the whole wealth of a nation. So his example of pins to illustrate the benefits of specialization, arguing that 10 workers could produce 48,000 pins per day if each was assigned a specific task. Yet, without the division of labor, he argued a worker would be lucky to produce even one pin per day, may seem mundane and unrelated, but illustrates the principle at hand.
Oh, but
So,
just to
oh,
hold on, finish your sentence.
no, go on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was done.
Just to add a little bit of a context to this, Adam Smith is the guy who is known as the father of classical economics. Not not the not the Keynesian economics, which is widely used at the moment, but the classical economics, which used to be widely used. Well, it's arguably used a lot by the right wing politicians, but yeah, Adam Smith, who actually lived during the Industrial Revolution era, that is this guy, and he uses the example of pins. Like, fun enough, like 150 years later, came the assembly line by Henry Ford in the Roaring Twenties, America. Like the assembly line is the most popular example to use for specialization. Uh, Instead of like 10 people assembling a car, uh, like one by one, they would all do a separate task, and they would produce a car like every second or something, or like every 5 seconds. It was actually quite funny to see how there's this door that keeps opening every 5 seconds and a new car comes out. So yeah, I've never actually seen the pins specialization idea, but that's actually quite funny. Like it existed like over a century before the assembly line was invented. So that's quite just goes to say how much of a genius actually this guy was, Adam Smith.
Yeah, but again, like sort of going back, it sort of like no way implies that an academic researcher is just part of the process, which is fair enough, as they are both fundamental um, and core to the existence of the essence being exploited, but rather that they are highly qualified and uniquely capable individuals within their circle or sphere, and to make the most of their capabilities. So they let researchers research and other parties deal with the more mundane details of turning such ideas into practicalities.
You can feel how much someone would despise the process by saying, "It's mundane details. You do this thing."
Exactly. It was like, yeah, oh, you go do these stuff. I'm not fussed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the interesting part, the research.
Exactly. I'll do the nice bit. Um,
Yeah.
but again, there's a saying that Andy's written here. It's like one does not own a dog and bark oneself. And it would be seen as ridiculous to suggest that an expert in one of the supporting functions would be capable of obtaining the equivalent expertise of an academic specialist, no matter how esoteric and complex such an expert's natural field might be, or the amount of time devoted to the effort. It is, after all, on this sort of very principle of the division of labour that the very structure of society is based, especially within our most revered establishments. And so the expectations that academics should be forced to cross traditional boundaries in order to achieve some supposed advantage in the value of their work they have produced does appear contrary to the very laws of nature, or at least the working theories thereof.
But first, did you know that even top companies like Coinbase struggle with talent retention, averaging just about zero point 0.8 years, so under 1 year? Web3 faces a big problem with unqualified applicants, some scammers, overall CV spammers, leading to short-term hires. Applications lack passion, they are misaligned with the project ethos. This disconnect reduces long-term commitment to missions and goals. Well, Arbeito fixes this. Arbeito is a limited membership Web3 jobs platform that combines AI tools, vetting, and job management tools, as well as third-party ad boosts. We are maximizing the number of eyeballs on your job post. Join today by going to our link tree in the description and look for arbeito.io.
Would we expect a lecturer to both instruct our student population and prepare their own meals? I think not, as this is a function well seen or better served by those whose station it is to do so.
Okay, I
Should
would
we?
like to say,
Yeah, go on.
well, I can go to lectures and prepare my own meals. How about that?
Oh,
Ah,
look at you go, man.
yeah, I know. So while everyone is just spending their broke student money, well, I mean, the broke students always like eat the most basic meal that they can prepare at home. Well, I mean, some of them might not even have a kitchen. Come to think of it, because they
That is a
have to
good point.
rent
Yeah.
like a room. Uh, I mean, I guess everywhere I lived and when I rented a room, we did have a kitchen, so I did prepare like a very basic meal. Like fun fact, if you're a what's it called a broke student, all you have to do is make a soup. Like you just throw everything that looks healthy into the soup. It might not taste the best, but it will keep you fed like for the entire day, like 30 minutes. And I made this experiment. That's you can actually very well do it. Oh, and another example. When I was doing my C++ programming
Hmm.
subject, the professor had some trouble with the projector, and he couldn't figure it out. So he called another guy. So like one IT expert called the other IT expert to fix the projector. That actually looked kind of funny to me. Like I know it makes sense, but it still looks kind of funny because you would expect normally people just say, "This is the IT guy." So I guess he can do everything related to IT. There's no specialization in it. He just he knows how to fix a camera. He knows how to do this. So yeah, this guy's the IT guy. That's how it was.
Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it? Really, sort of
Yeah,
going back to what we were saying, it was just like you wouldn't expect a person to sort of change jobs, really, if anything,
and
or
it
change
goes.
roles. Yeah.
Should we then expect our brightest academic minds to burden themselves with the innumerable details of mundane exploitation of the wonderful ideas that they have composed so elegantly? Or to have to translate their thoughts on such matters into the understanding of those less capable who happen to be in control of the finances so well deserved? I'm really trying to put a accentuation on the keywords here. It's actually funny because normally this kind of attitude goes the other way. So yeah, let then our researchers concentrate on that at which they are so demonstrably proficient, and leave the practicalities and indignities of exploitation to those whom nature has better shaped their proficiencies. Uh, yeah, so we are specializing here. You research, I do the hustling. In such manner, we may both ensure the academic authority of the research so completed, whilst at the same time, well, at the same instant, satisfying those who would insist upon a recognizable return from the monies so grudgingly invested in the process, without the dilution of attention of our academic fellows, who will remain free to concentrate upon that which they perceive as their appropriate field of research, and applying other more appropriate resources to the more worldly aspects of the exploitation of the fruits of their research. Yeah, fruits of the research can be both intellectual as well as monetary. I guess so. We're talking about specific fruits of research. In such a manner, may all the desires of nature and nation be fulfilled through the discovery of nature's marvels to the benefit of the national purse. Yeah. A word of warning may be appropriate at this point that there are those who would, in the guise of removing the burden from the university and researcher, would also remove from them the benefits potential of the fruits of their research, i.e., they would defund them. And while such actions may be in full historic accord with the mercantile tradition of buying cheaply in one market and sell it at a profit in another, because the the market makers, or maybe not market makers, but well, the merchants, let's say, that to them it also requires their own skill, and they do what they do. They don't this is not necessarily concerned with the research with academics. uh, the consideration of benefit to such merchant at the expense of both the producer and the recipient of the goods is a less than equitable solution. Indeed, a certain bitterness may remain, as I have been trying to uh, demonstrate by my accentuation of keywords, upon the palate of such a recipe. And it is in the discovery of a much sweeter outcome for the principles concerned that we now turn our attention. But before we continue, are you looking to invest in real world asset innovation IPs? Maybe one coming from a university? I'll have you know, they have an average ROI of 397%, aka X4. And did you know, the likes of Gatorade and Google actually came out from universities?
Then what you're looking for is the Pipe gDAO, a community-led protocol that fairly openly and honestly governs overall community ownership of the various protocols it creates. Join the Web3 real-world asset revolution powered by PGF Launchpad with cutting-edge university laboratory inventions that could change the world with your support, bridging the gap between university IP real-world assets and Web3 capital. The PGF Launchpad connects EU university lab innovators directly with retail investors on the blockchain, included but not limited to automated seizure prediction and prevention, and boost EV driving range significantly. This could be up to 70%.
You can join us by going into the link tree in the description, launchpad.thepipegdao.io.
So, in pursuit of such a solution, Andy here did not hesitate to point the reader to thepipecompany.co.uk as the first step to embark upon a voyage of discovery wherein the principles of a natural selection may be explored and an evolution process for the progress of such formidable academic achievements as disclosed and delineated. Indeed, without stealing the glory of any of our fellow practitioners, it may be worth recognizing that the aforementioned systems borrow from the practices of our late colonies in the dividing into three parts of subjects within a presentation of potential tasks, devised to ensure the appropriate employment of scarce medical resources. When faced with a stream of battlefield casualties, this triage process applies to brutally effective method of ensuring the greater survival. To give a less gruesome explanation of its mechanisms, let us instead consider the fates of our three ships. The first is sound of timber, sail and rigging, well provisioned and with a crew of healthy disposition that shows it knows the ropes. The second shows signs of distress, having taken heavy seas or some pestilence within the crew or provisions, and is in need of a harbour and repair provision. The third shows signs of severe distress, taking on much water, her hull breached, her rigging fallen in disarray, with the crew already looking to the boats rather than the pumps.
It's a pestilence, you uncultured swine.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Pestilence, I think it means a disease, some kind of. But yeah, I actually don't know what that word means too well either. I
Yeah,
heard it once in the book.
I was like, I've never seen that before. But so one can see the first will probably complete her voyage safely and with some profit. The second ship's fate will depend on the actions taken to gain harbour and repair. With a fair wind and a friendly shore, she should be able to repair and continue on her way following the first. However, the third ship sadly will either ring the lutein bell for a loss, or if by some miracle she survives by her making harbour, but she'll most likely fail to deliver her cargo to any destination other than the deep.
Yeah, all that ship talk just makes me say, ships on vigor on the waves are skimming, bearing summits to the burdened plains. I don't know if you know the song.
It reminds me of
Assassin's
the one
Creed.
out of Assassin's Creed. Yeah, Assassin's Creed 4.
Valhalla calling.
Yes. Oh, mate, I love that. Love that game. So the big lesson here is that through the application of such analysis of the seaworthiness of the research, seaworthiness obviously being a metaphor for the research to be able to stand on its own two legs within the ocean, and that is business. Projects presented using the expertise of those who have gained their sea legs in many weathers and conditions, which means the academics will need business-minded people to help them get their projects off the ground, and they can see the health of such ship as it cuts through the waters. The pipe disclosure and validation process can determine those vessels to which a cargo can be safely consigned from those which should be prevented from leaving harbour or hauled out for repair, meaning that we can design your ship in a way where it will be the first ship. Okay? That's the selling point. The deeper analysis that is later undertaken to ensure a profitable voyage could be best compared to the thorough examination of the ship's papers in all aspects and the corresponding realities to which they refer, from the state of timbers to the storage of provisions, the handling of cargo, and the experience of the crew, which is claimed as verified. What is found the deficient is corrected, and everything is queried, examined, and declared fit for purpose. But let us return from this explanation to the subject first raised, of ensuring the research of universities are a benefit, not a burden.
Yeah.
Indeed, let us splice together these three themes: the research, the division of labour, and the voyage of delivery, as it befits the making of a strongest codage.
But before that, hey listeners, we get it. Sometimes you've got questions and browsing through endless FAQs just isn't cutting it. I mean, we do have Discord and Telegram where you could ask us questions directly. We're very responsive there. But maybe you want to hear human interaction for something important. A lot of people value that, especially those who are, on the elder side. We get in the universities, there are elder professors. So why not make it easy on yourself and give us a call?
Yes, just pick up the phone and dial +44 0161 399 4283. Available 9 to 5 UK time. Whether it's a quick question, a bit of help you need, or you just want to chat with a real person, we're here for you.
No robots, no runaround, just friendly folks ready to give you the answers you need and fast. So, next time you're stuck, remember this number +44 0161 399 4283, available 9 to 5 UK time. We are ready when you are. Yeah, those older Brits seem to be very fancy with their usage of words. Not even this Brit noodle knows some of them.
No.
It would seem foolhardy, another. I only know Tom Hardy, but yeah. To set sail within a ship wherein the master must both haul on all of the lines himself. Well, that's also another word that I only heard about ships, and is but freshly acquainted with the role. Oh man, the those words. Regardless otherwise of the state of the vessel or the value of its cargo, such a voyage might well founder. Such a voyage might well founder as it meets its first seas exiting the shelter of the harbor. Any merchant consigning his fortune to such an endeavor must be suspected of having his eyes more firmly upon his insurance than the delivery of goods. Yeah, imagine you have 2 out of 3 possibility of boarding a ship that's gonna give you a lot of trouble. No. And any crew on such a ship could well be in peril of their survival. Better than trust the delivery of the cargo to a well founded ship with a crew both experienced and engaged with the success of the voyage. Therefore, let the research be the precious cargo that needs delivery, and the researcher the merchant that accompany and the researcher the merchant that accompanies their goods to ensure their state, rather than the master and the pilot of the ship, and let an experienced master and crew see to the state of the vessel and the safe completion of the voyage. So we go back to the specialization topic. In such a manner, the delivery of the promise of the goods so carried, the fruits of research undertaken, and discoveries made can be better assured of increasing the public good and no doubt the national exchequer through the tithes and duties paid, ensuring a profit for all concerned and avoiding the bell stall. Hmm. Are you familiar with the bell stall?
I think it's a bell that rings when the ship is going down.
I see you've played Assassin's Creed.
I have, yes.
Yeah. Thus, by each contributing their strength and entwined together, a stronger cord, indeed a lifeline, is created, and the burden lifted to be discharged as the beneficial cargo delivered to a grateful public and state. To a grateful public and state, I repeat. Wishing a fair wind and a safe harbor to all. Maybe Andy also played Assassin's Creed. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm getting that impression. I'm getting the vibe.
Yeah, and that is all for our episode 8. And who knows, maybe next time we'll have more Assassin's Creed references or some other game.
Maybe, hopefully. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.